I'm Gregor Thomson, I'm a philosopher and a writer, and I know what the meaning of life is. Welcome to The Struggle. This episode is brought to you by The Struggle newsletter. This is a weekly email newsletter in which I send out for free every Sunday a short article concerning the art of embracing struggle. If you feel restricted in life, if something is holding you back, perhaps it's time to struggle your way towards freedom. If you're trying to be productive, you're trying to be healthy and to achieve your dreams, perhaps you're chasing the wrong thing. A lot of us believe that we should be aiming for happiness, but this is an unwise pursuit, as happiness comes and goes without any control from us. However, there is a way to be more fulfilled with life, and that is to embrace struggle, to exercise, to eat healthily, to have uncomfortable conversations, to take career risks, to discover who you are, and to be autonomous. That's the way to break free from whatever it is that's restricting you. And that's why I created a newsletter. Along with the article, I also provide tips, strategies, and recommendations such as movies, music, podcasts, and recipes to help along the way. To sign up for free, go to gregorthomson.com. The link will be in the show notes. Confirm your subscription and make sure you check your spam folder for your welcome newsletter and add me to your contacts to continue to receive it in your inbox every week for free. And that's it. You're on your way to struggling more and being more productive, healthy, and motivated. Now, let's get on with the struggle. This is episode 44 of The Struggle with me, Gregor Thomson. And today I'm going to discuss the consequences of numbing ourselves to the world. Because what occurs as we distract ourselves with highly dopaminergic activities and behaviours like social media, junk food, video games, and pornography is that we become increasingly numb to the reality of the world. We become so accustomed to distraction that the world we're distracting ourselves from becomes painful, leading to further distracting. We neglect all confusing, uncertain, and murky feelings and emotions and coddle ourselves with scrolling, eating, smoking, and watching. We must therefore unshackle ourselves from the prison of our own minds and become more accustomed to true reality, which is worrisome, painful, and anxiety-ridden, but it's also beautiful, fulfilling, and meaningful. In order to make friends with reality, we must first take responsibility. We must take responsibility for our psyches, for our mindset. We must become aware and embrace all of our emotions, no matter how unpredictable they may be. We must take responsibility for what we can actually change. We must fully acknowledge our emotions and our problems and take responsibility for them. If we're ever going to become better, we must first acknowledge what's holding us back, our limitations and our vulnerabilities. And unfortunately, you will not find them on social media. The world we live in now encourages using our issues as reasons for inaction rather than action. Of course, many have been victims of horrendous traumas. However, the route towards self-fulfillment does not come from victimizing oneself. It comes from accepting the pains and troubles we've been through and moving forward anyway. And I'm not suggesting that you take responsibility for the harms done to you by others, just that you take responsibility for your inner interpretations of these harms and for your actions moving forward. Victimizing ourselves has become part of the fabric of modernity. Oppression has taken a front row seat of our narratives, which is only morally right as long as these narratives consist of solutions. But when oppression is used as an excuse for inaction, we are victimizing ourselves and halting progress. Humans are incredibly skillful at creating reasons why we shouldn't struggle more, why we aren't ambitious, and why this person made me this way. We are primed to preserve energy, evolutionarily speaking, in order to survive. But when we chronically fail to move forward as we do in the modern world, of fast food, of constant and novel entertainment, issues of inaction occur. We become unfulfilled and numb. We fail to live up to our potential and we fail to acknowledge our true feelings. So start by acknowledging all of your emotions. Become aware of when you pick up the phone to scroll. Maybe there's something hiding in your psyche waiting to be discovered, but as long as you distract yourself from it, you'll never know, and you'll never overcome whatever it is that's holding you back. We must lean towards our pain and the reality of the world, immersing ourselves in its beauty and terror. We must become aware of our attempts at escaping from reality so that we can limit this time and expand the time we spend within true reality. It's time to start paying attention to your full experience, the confusing as well as the painful. Because as Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. So take responsibility for who you are and who you become. No one else is responsible for your behavior other than yourself. So taking responsibility for your life and making it better is the wisest route. You can only become better by unshackling yourselves from a painful past or from painful emotions. And the first step to doing this is to acknowledge the shackles themselves. Then you can begin to free yourself from the slavery of the unconscious and unexamined psyche. Let your emotions run through you, all of your emotions. The alternative is sleepwalking through life, being a puppet controlled by your emotions. Or you could always blame others, society, and the world for your inaction and see how far that gets you. Why is this life of failing to take responsibility, of failing to live up to your true potential, and of constant distraction so enticing? It's because it's the easy route. The reason why dopaminergic activities and behaviors and substances like social media, pornography, junk food, smoking, video games, and some drugs are so enticing is because the pleasure felt is instantly gratifying. You feel the pleasure as soon as you bite that burger, and the effort required to feel that is minimal. However, the pleasure felt when we partake in difficult behaviors and activities like exercising, journaling, meditating, and acknowledging our emotions is felt usually after the activity or behavior, meaning you have to work or put in some effort in order to feel pleasure, which is why these behaviors are so difficult. Here's the good news though. The pleasure felt is deeper and more meaningful, as well as longer lasting. If you make a habit of being productive, having difficult conversations with yourself, acknowledging difficult emotions, and being creative, you will have a more pleasurable and fulfilling life. Instead of feeling the extremely short-lived pleasure that comes from instantly gratifying behaviors and substances that inevitably lead to pain afterwards, you can feel pleasure and fulfillment on a more fundamental level over the course of your life. Of course, you won't eliminate pain, but you'll deal with it in healthier ways compared to ignoring it or distracting yourself from it. The whole of life is important. You will not live a meaningful and fulfilling life if you distract yourself from parts of it. And so I'll leave you with the extremely wise words of Viktor Frankl. Consider a movie. It consists of thousands upon thousands of individual pictures, and each of them makes sense and carries a meaning. Yet the meaning of the whole film cannot be seen before its last sequence is shown. However, we cannot understand the whole film without having first understood each of its components, each of the individual pictures. Isn't it the same with life? Doesn't the final meaning of life too reveal itself, if at all, only at its end, on the verge of death? And doesn't this final meaning too depend on whether or not the potential meaning of each single situation has been actualized to the best of the respective individual's knowledge and belief? The answer lies in the struggle. So keep on struggling. Just a few more things before you take off. Firstly, thank you for watching. It genuinely means a lot to see people viewing and liking the content. Second, if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe and share. Those are the best ways you can support the podcast. As you can probably tell, I don't have a ton of fancy equipment. I don't have a team behind me helping with marketing or editing the podcast. I don't have much resources. So any help is greatly appreciated. You can also stay up to date with everything I'm doing on social media. All of the links will be in the show notes. And you can also listen to the Struggle podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And lastly, keep on struggling.